Thank you. Thank you, and good morning. It's good to be with you. I'm Paul Sletton, and I run a company called Paul Sletton and Associates. And we work with dentists and their teams in planning and executing and implementing effective life transitions and practice transitions. I've been involved in the business of consulting with dental teams in the fee-for-service area for 28 years. And it's really been a lot of fun. My own career has transitioned many, many times over that time. I've been involved in 1,300 practice transitions, and every one of them involves a life transition. One of the many things that I've learned in this time of working with dentists and seeing how their planning impacts other people. There's always a ripple effect when you do planning. It impacts the people around us, of course. It impacts each of you in your practices. It impacts the patients. It impacts the team members. And really, it impacts the community. So most transitions that fail, and way too many of them do, is because they haven't really done the planning up front. The planning needs to precede the execution. And so much of what happens is that people spend time getting the numbers right, like how much is the practice worth, what will the transaction investment be, how will the terms and timetable be put together, and how do we put the contract together, how do we live together, how do we share income and expense and all of that, and that's all tremendously important, of course. But as you know in your practices and in your lives, that what really happens is you're happy or unhappy depending upon whether you get along and depending upon whether or not you have somebody in your practice with you that you've invited in, either to buy the practice so that you can retire, or to join you as an associate, or to join you as an eventual partner. You've just got to enjoy them being there. The second part was more difficult when I had to sit down and say, okay, Paul, now what are you going to have to become in order to be valuable to this kind of person? What am I going to have to read? What am I going to have to study? What am I going to have to learn? Who will I need to network and associate with? What will I have to get rid of in terms of attitudes, beliefs, old prejudices, old habits that aren't necessarily productive for me anymore? And build intentionally a new me. And I've continued that process. I make a new 5-year plan every year. Because that's where we need to be going with this stuff. So there's nothing I'm talking about that isn't absolutely applying to me squarely as well. The beauty of all this is that when these things work, and they can work, people enjoy being in their practices all day, every day. They positively impact the people around them. They move on to whatever next phase or stage of their life is important to them. And they do it with vigor and with fun. And the ripple effect could not possibly be more positive. So I say to you this morning, good luck with your transitions as you move from transition into really what we've been talking about is personal transformation. It's been fun being with you.